I'm home. Managed to get off early today. Hey, why are you guys ignoring me? How dare you ignore the head of this household? What gives you the right?
My name is Elizabeth. I'm a 30-year-old stay-at-home mom. I live a peaceful life with my husband, Alex, and our first-grade daughter, Sophie. Our family bond is incredibly strong, and I've felt blessed and fulfilled every day. However, that happiness was shattered in an instant. One day, Sophie came home from school and, without any warning, locked herself in her room. Usually, she would greet me cheerfully with a "I'm home," and we'd share snacks, but her sudden retreat into her room made me worry something serious had happened. Rushing to Sophie's room, I found the door locked. Sensing something deeply troubling, I knocked on the door, calling out to Sophie. "Sophie, are you okay? Did something happen at school?" I asked, but got no response, though I could hear crying from inside. Thinking there must have been some trouble at school, I continued to knock and call out to her. Even if she thought I was being persistent, I couldn't help but worry. A few minutes later, Sophie came out of her room, sobbing uncontrollably. Seeing her so upset nearly brought me to tears as well. But I knew I needed to stay calm, so I hugged her and listened to what she had to say. Then, she dropped a bombshell.
Mom, I saw Dad hugging a woman in the supermarket parking lot. Right there for everyone to see.
Shocked, I asked her to tell me more. Sophie continued.
Today, my friend's mom came to pick us up, and we passed by the supermarket. When we stopped at the light, I saw Dad and your friend there. I was about to call out to them when I saw them hugging.
And with that, she burst into tears again. Did your friend's mom see this too?
No, she didn't. I almost cried, but I held it in. Mom, am I good for doing that?
Sophie, you did very well. I'm sorry you had to see something so sad. From Sophie's story, it was clear that Alex was having an affair with one of my friends. I had always believed our family was happy and close-knit, so the thought of my husband cheating, and Sophie witnessing it, filled me with remorse. All I could do was hug Sophie, apologizing as we both cried together. After a while, when Sophie had calmed down, I was about to start making dinner when I received a message from Jessica saying he would be home late. As I was glued to my phone screen, Sophie came up to me, a worried look on her face.
Mom, what's wrong?
I hesitated before replying. Dad's going to be home late tonight. Her response was laced with a mix of anger and betrayal.
So, Dad's a liar. And here I was, really loving him.
Sophie's face was a canvas of raw emotions, anger intermingled with sadness. Let's keep this between us for now, okay? I'll look into it, so don't you worry. I tried to reassure her, though I knew asking her not to worry was easier said than done. That night, I held Sophie close as we fell asleep together, a temporary solace from the storm brewing within our home. Though Alex seemed to have returned late that night, he made no attempt to speak to us, and by the morning, he had left the house early, perhaps to avoid any confrontation. After seeing a slightly more cheerful Sophie off to school the next day, I made my way to a private investigator's office, desperate for answers. I was told the investigation into my husband's infidelity would take about a month, and they promised to contact me with any conclusive evidence before sending the full report. The waiting period was agonizing, filled with tense and uncomfortable moments spent in Alex's presence. When the day finally came to receive the report, the reality of confronting who Alex had betrayed us with loomed over me. The thought of it being a friend was terrifying, and when the private investigator confirmed my suspicions, the disgust was overwhelming. Both Sophie and I had grown increasingly distant from Alex, our interactions minimal and strained. Sophie had all but cut her father out of her life, a fact that Jeff seemed oblivious to, commenting offhandedly about her entering puberty.
A bit early, isn't it?
Living under the weight of this stress, the call from the private investigator felt like a mix of relief and dread. They sent over an email with photos as a preliminary report, confirming Alex's affair. I was happy and scared to find out all about what he did. It became clear that it was certain that Alex was having an affair. The images, taken at the supermarket Sophie had mentioned, were disturbing. Seeing him embrace another woman in such a familiar place made my skin crawl. And when I saw who the woman was, I was speechless. It was my close friend, Jessica, who had betrayed me. Jessica often came over to our house, becoming a familiar face not just to me but to Sophie as well. Their bond was undeniable, with Sophie lighting up and rushing over whenever Jessica arrived, eager for the play and interaction that awaited. They even shared outings to amusement parks, creating memories that I thought would last a lifetime. The revelation that Jessica was involved in an affair with my husband shattered those memories, casting a shadow over the innocence of their interactions. The pain and confusion this caused, especially since Sophie witnessed their betrayal, left me grappling with a profound sense of guilt and sorrow. My fury towards my husband was intense, a tumultuous mix of betrayal and disbelief simmering within me. Through the preliminary findings from a private investigator, I had concrete evidence of the affair, yet the full report, crucial for legal proceedings, was still in the works. This limbo forced me into a facade of normalcy, a daily act that chipped away at my resolve. Forgiveness seemed an impossibility, yet the thought of tearing Sophie's family apart weighed heavily on me. The constant questions from Sophie about the affair pushed me towards honesty. Despite her young age, I believed she deserved the truth.
I hate Dad. Because he betrayed you. I'm on your side, Mom.
Her declaration of disdain for her father, a vow of allegiance to me, was both heart-wrenching and comforting. It solidified my decision. Our home could no longer harbor the man who had torn it apart. The process of divorcing took its toll, with the final report from the investigator marking the end of our interactions with my husband. Our perception of him was irreversibly tainted, his presence a reminder of the betrayal we could not overlook. This shift in perception was eye-opening, a painful acknowledgement of the change in our family dynamics. Despite his fluctuating work schedule, the knowledge of his infidelity loomed large, making every attempt at normal interaction feel insincere and forced. The silence that filled our meals spoke volumes, a testament to the distance his actions had created. On a day he unexpectedly returned home early, the abrupt end to our lively dinner conversation underscored the irrevocable damage, a stark reminder of the joy and unity we once shared, now lost.
I'm home. Managed to wrap things up early at the office today.
The house greeted him with silence. An echoing quiet that seemed to hang heavily in the air.
What's with the silent treatment?
He called out, my voice breaking through the stillness, yet we continued to ignore him.
Where's my dinner?
He asked, irritation creeping tone, but still, we didn't respond. He had mentioned he might have to work late, so there was no dinner prepared. Deep down, I suspected he was out with someone else, fueling their silent protest.
Ignoring me, huh? Who do you think you are?
He blurted out, frustration boiling over as he slammed his hand on the dining table. The impact sent dishes flying, crashing to the floor in a cacophony of shattering ceramics and spilled food, yet their silence persisted. Perhaps alarmed by my continued disregard, he paused.
Hold on. You can see me, right? I haven't turned invisible.
He half-joked, inspecting his own hands. I was almost laugh. But when his visibility was confirmed, and yet the silence remained unbroken, he tried again.
Is this about me not coming home as planned? I'm sorry. Maybe I should just grab something to eat on my own.
He pondered aloud, but it was as if he was speaking to the walls. And so, he checked again, as ridiculous as it felt. No matter how many times he looked, he wasn't invisible. It was simply our choice to ignore me.
Sophie, maybe we should hit the amusement park this weekend. Think I should get the tickets.
He ventured, attempting to draw her into conversation, desperate for any sign of engagement, yet met with nothing but silence. It was astonishing, really, how he could continue to talking even if we keep ignoring him.
What did I do to deserve this? Why the silent treatment? Am I ascending to heaven? Am I that invisible? Have I become so non-existent?
I mused to myself, the situation bordering on the absurd, making it hard to keep from laughing. The sheer extent of our ignoring seemed to finally scare him, and he decided to leave the house.
I am still alive.
Saying with these weird comments. At that, me and Sophie couldn't contain ourselves any longer and burst into laughter. He seems like he became a ghost or something. It was our little laugh, a moment of levity in the midst of our family drama. But deep down, I knew something was off. My husband, oblivious to the fact that his secret was out, seemed to wander around our home, a shell of himself, as if he was checking to see if he still existed to us. It felt as though he left to escape becoming a real ghost in his own life, haunted by the guilt and secrets he carried. 2 weeks had passed since he stepped out of our lives, and in his absence, a sense of peace settled over our household. Without the presence of betrayal, life somehow seemed lighter, more joyful. It was then that the official documents finally arrived, prompting me to take action. I visited the law firm, a step heavy with the weight of a decision I never thought I'd have to make, and laid out the evidence of his betrayal. The lawyer, with a nod of understanding, began drafting the divorce papers, a concrete step towards a new beginning. The process moved quickly. Within days, we were ready to send the certified mail to my husband and his lover, Jessica. The uncertainty of his whereabouts led us to send the notifications not just to his last known location but also to his workplace and his parents' house, ensuring he couldn't avoid facing the consequences of his actions. Jessica's call came unexpectedly, only 2 days after the mail was sent. Her voice, laced with anger and disbelief, echoed through the phone.
What are you thinking? Asking me for alimony? Are you out of your mind?
Her indignation was palpable, but so was her misunderstanding of the situation. Why do you think you're not liable? I countered, my voice steady, despite the turmoil inside. She retorted, claiming innocence due to coercion, a defense crumbling under the weight of the truth. Being coerced doesn't absolve you of responsibility. You were a willing participant in this affair, and the longevity of your involvement speaks volumes. I responded, my calmness a stark contrast to her desperation. Her attempt to shift blame and evoke sympathy fell on deaf ears. Our relationship was already in tatters. Had you come forward sooner, perhaps things could have been different. But after 10 years, your words hold no weight. I told her, the finality in my voice marking the end of not just this conversation but of a chapter in my life. Her silence followed, a testament to the shock and realization that her actions had consequences. The truth about the affair, painstakingly uncovered by a private investigator during my husband's absences, laid bare the depth of the deception. An old computer, thought to be forgotten, held years of secrets between my husband and Alex. The revelation, shared over the phone, brought Alex to tears, a mixture of regret and sorrow for a situation she could no longer escape from. This confrontation, though painful, marked the beginning of my journey towards healing and reclaiming my life, a life no longer overshadowed by the specter of betrayal.
I'm truly sorry for the pain I've caused you. I vow never to see you again. I'll continue to apologize until I earn your forgiveness and will adhere to any request you have. Please, I implore you, do not pursue alimony against me.
She pleaded with a sense of desperation. The sheer nerve of my former friend, begging to forego alimony after her betrayal, compelled me to voice my indignation louder than ever. You're offering apologies? Forever? Do yourself a favor and keep out of my life. After tearing apart our family, you have the audacity to say such things? Do nothing, that's what I desire the most. Moreover, you must face the consequences of your actions and fulfill your obligation to pay alimony. As I vented my frustration, Alex started to unveil her reasons for resisting the alimony demands.
Ever since the tragic demise of my parents in an accident last year, I've been the sole provider for my younger brother. I aspire to afford him a college education, making the alimony payments beyond my financial reach. I'm aware that no amount of apologies will compensate for my actions, but I'm financially incapable of meeting the alimony demands.
Remember how we used to be best friends? We enjoyed countless shared experiences and even coordinated our outfits during our school years. Little did we imagine you'd end up matching with my husband as well. My patience wore thin as Alex persisted in her pleas for forgiveness. You dared to engage in an affair, shattering our family, and now, faced with personal hardships, you refuse to accept responsibility? As an adult, it's time you took full responsibility for your actions.
I swear to apologize for the rest of my life. I'll do whatever it takes.
Despite her promises, Alex remained steadfast in her refusal to settle the alimony. Exhausted from the emotional toll of her tearful pleas, I sternly concluded our conversation. The repercussions of an affair, including alimony, are well known. You made your choice, now, bear the responsibility. That marked the end of our communication. Subsequently, my husband reached out to me. Mimicking Jessica, he laid out a series of excuses, but I swiftly ended the call. Following this ordeal, my health deteriorated, confining me to bed. During this time, Sophie, acting on my behalf, contacted my parents to brief them on the situation. Upon awakening, I found Sophie and my parents by my side, having prepared a meal for me. Their gesture brought tears to my eyes, witnessing my daughter's growth. As we savored the warmth of family togetherness, my husband, visibly weakened and changed, made his entrance. His altered appearance rendered him unrecognizable.
A stranger.
Sophie exclaimed, frightened at his sight.
It's me, your dad. To think of me as an intruder hurts deeply.
He lamented, on the verge of tears, before pleading his case.
I've received a legal notice. I deeply regret my actions and promise never to repeat them. Please, I beg you, let's not end our marriage. Divorce is the last thing I want. Despite the resentment you hold towards me, I yearn to witness Sophie's continued growth.
His emotional plea, however, left me utterly unmoved. I'm sorry, but I just can't trust you anymore. It's over. I calmly explained to him, my words heavy with finality. The room felt colder, the tension palpable as Jessica, overcome with desperation, knelt down, begging for forgiveness.
Please, I'm begging you, don't give up on us.
He pleaded, his voice breaking with emotion. In the midst of this heart-wrenching scene, my father, John, stood firm, his voice booming with authority.
Do you even grasp the severity of your actions? I'm telling you now, keep your distance from my daughter and granddaughter forever.
His words were like a gavel, final and resolute. Attempting to flee from the confrontation, Jessica made a dash for the door but paused, a glimmer of hope in her eyes as she turned back to Sophie.
Sophie, you do need your dad, right?
She implored, seeking any sign of agreement. But Sophie's response was a dagger to the heart.
I don't know who you are anymore. No, just no.
She exclaimed, her rejection clear and final. With her words echoing in the hallway, Jessica left the house, tears streaming down her face, a symbol of the profound loss and despair she felt. The divorce, facilitated swiftly through legal channels, marked the end of their shared life. We were seeking solace and a fresh start, moved back to my parental home, a familiar haven in the storm of their lives. Despite the upheaval, Sophie's routine remained stable, her school and friendships untouched by the chaos of the divorce. Alex, on the other hand, faced the harsh reality of her actions. Financial burdens mounted, forcing her into a smaller, less welcoming apartment, a stark contrast to the life she once knew. Work became a minefield of whispers and sideways glances, her divorce and the reasons behind it fodder for office gossip. Isolated by her female colleagues and branded as unreliable, Alex watched as his career prospects dimmed, his aspirations slipping away like sand through her fingers. His personal and professional life crumbling, Alex stood at the precipice of despair, his future a bleak landscape of unfulfilled potential and regret. Jessica, caught in the aftermath of her own decisions, faced the daunting task of rebuilding her life while burdened with the financial strain of alimony payments, a constant reminder of the consequences of her actions. Even Michael, whom she hoped would remain unaffected, turned his back, his words cutting deep.
Just send the money. I have nothing but contempt for someone as deceitful as you.
With those words, any hope of reconciliation vanished, leaving Jessica alone with her regrets. Back in the safety of her family home, I headed towards the future with renewed determination. Starting anew in her career, she focused on providing for Sophie, ensuring a stable and bright future for her daughter. Sophie, once shadowed by the events, began to find joy in her new life, her laughter a testament to her resilience. My resolve hardened, she would shield Sophie from further heartache, a beacon of strength and love in her daughter's life. This story, a tapestry of pain, forgiveness, and the enduring power of family bonds, speaks to the heart of our shared human experience, reminding us of the strength we find in love and the promise of new beginnings.